Hi folks, Ghost here. Hope you're all doing well. And today we've got some fan art. I think a couple weeks ago, I think it was back in November, but I ended up watching Arcane League of Legends. Oh man, what a ride. Definitely a good show if you haven't seen it yet. Highly recommend. I actually used to play League of Legends a little bit back in college. And then ended up quitting because my laptop couldn't handle it anymore. But anyway, I don't know. The show is like so much better than the game. I'm just gonna be straight up honest there. But if you're into like steampunk fantasy and awesome storytelling and cool animation, definitely recommend it. So I was inspired to do some fan art. Right now I'm sketching out Vi, I believe. I did Jinx earlier in the sketchbook, and then I just didn't record it because thought it was just going to be a small thing, and then I was like, well, I may as well do both of them while I'm at it. So got out the camera and started recording. This sketchbook here is, I don't know, it's just a cheapo sketchbook I got from IKEA, so it's not the greatest paper. Definitely okay for some light pencil sketching and some ink, but I definitely not good for any like heavy duty wet mediums. Also recently got some, what are they called again? The Blackwing pencils, which is what I'm using to draw with. They're very nice. Super buttery, really like them. So I think part of the reason why I love this show so much, randomly on a day off, because I'd seen everyone talking about it on I think it was Instagram originally, and then I was like, yeah, I'll just check out the first episode, which was kind of a mistake because 6 hours later, all I had done is watch the show and not done anything else that I had planned on doing that day, but definitely worth it. Anyway, it's just like, even if you don't like the story, I just like from a technical standpoint, the animation's it's awesome. They did such a good job with it. Definitely not the first, piece of animation I've seen where they've done combined like 2D and 3D animation, but I don't think I've seen anything else do it in such a way that's seamless. It looked really good. Plus the storytelling was just pretty phenomenal. They did a really good job doing like trying to avoid spoilers here. It's hard. They did a really good job kind of like bookending the story, and then just the way they had their A plot and the B plot put together, and man, it's just good stuff. There are also a lot of visual parallels just within the episodes or within the first season, and I can't get enough of it. Sorry, my head keeps getting in the way. It's hard doing overhead camera shots. Because you want to lean forward. So. I initially, when I started this, I thought I was just going to keep it low-key and simple. And then I was just like, nah, we're going to color it. So I basically did all the line work traditionally in the sketchbook. So I did all the pencils and then just inked right over it. My plan was because the paper I was using isn't super heavy duty, I was going to color it and clean it up digitally. This was kind of ended up being a bit of a hybrid piece. And then later in the video, if you keep watching, you'll see me struggle with coloring stuff digitally. It's been a hot minute since I've done anything in GIMP, which is the primary program that I use to edit digital stuff on the computer, at least. It's been a couple months, so I basically forgot how to do everything. It was great. Actually, no, I probably wasted a couple hours trying to look up tutorials for things. Super excited for season 2 to come out, whenever it comes out. It's probably going to be at least another year or two. I think watching it, the series 2, it gave me like mega Bioshock and Bioshock Infinite vibes. If you've ever played them, it's very like 1920s, like Art Deco, I don't know, progress kind of, what's it called? World's Fair. Yeah, it reminds me of the World's Fair. They just did a really good job with the world building and incorporating video game characters that have very little backstory that you can actually pick up on when you're playing the game. So it's kind of funny to me that they ended up doing an entire I don't know, TV series off of a game that has very little, like, if any, story or plot involved in the actual game. So it's kind of impressive, actually, if you think about it. So this first clip of me trying to do this on my tablet, I used the app Sketchbook on my tablet to do drawings, digital drawings, and then I ended up fiddling around with it for a while and then just sort of realized that it did not have the editing features that I needed in order to do what I wanted without making it way more work. So I started off trying to do this on the tablet and then ended up dropping it and then having to scan it into my computer and do it on my computer. So I actually really like Sketchbook as an app. It's really good for drawing on. It's definitely missing some of the bells and whistles that like Photoshop, GIMP, or probably Clip Studio Paint has. So it's good if you're just looking for kind of just like a sketching or a drawing app. Again, missing some of those key features that makes it like you'd be able to do all of your work in it. So ended up switching over to GIMP and trying to clean up the line work, trying to remember how I did all of this. I actually used to scan stuff in fairly frequently, but I haven't done it, I don't know, probably since like the beginning of the year. I haven't done a lot of traditional finished pieces much this year. It's just, especially the first half of the year was very hectic. I had a lot of life changes going on, so didn't really sit down and do many finished pieces. But just cleaning up some of the line work right now. I kind of wanted to preserve most of the line work, like the original line work I did. Right now I'm just cleaning up any kind of like stray marks that I didn't want to show up in the final version. If you're wondering, this footage, most of the footage that I have, it's sped up by ×4 or ×8 speed, depending on the section, but yeah, I just sped it up a little because otherwise this video would have been, I think, 2 hours long. I had like 2 or 3 hours of footage. Most of the footage I cut out though because it was just me being confused about how to do a certain thing. Mainly me trying to figure out how to put my line art on a transparent layer, which I ended up finding a tutorial. I had another one that I had saved, I think many ages ago on like DeviantArt, and I don't know what happened to it. I might see if I can find it again because it was a little bit more straightforward than the other tutorial that I ended up finding, which I don't know if it's the proper way. And then for some reason, when I was working on Jinx, like I managed to get the layers to cooperate, but you'll see when I get to V, there was some goofy stuff happening. And I actually ended up exporting. I had to export the image when I was working on V and then re-import it as a layer and then just start another project because the layers would not cooperate. I ended up it just ended up coloring the lines instead of the layer, and I was just like, this is so annoying. It's not often that I end up coloring stuff, and a lot of times when I do coloring, I tend to do limited color palettes. And then I ended up, just for these images, I ended up doing basically the kind of like the powder blue and the magenta, which are the common thematic colors for the sisters in the show. But yeah, I think I changed the color of the line art too, so it wasn't just black. So it ended up being like a really dark magenta. Also, I'm sure there's a way to do like a mask layer. So I didn't have to go back and erase. I was probably doing this the hard way, but you know what? I didn't have time to figure out the new way, so I just did it the way I knew how. I know a lot of people don't use GIMP, but if you're looking for some pretty powerful free photo editing software, either for photo editing or drawing, GIMP, will definitely, GIMP's pretty good. So for free open source software, definitely recommend. Probably doesn't have all the bells and whistles of Photoshop. It's probably missing some key features. I usually don't like drawing in GIMP. Actually, I don't really like drawing on the computer. It's hard. And actually, I figured out the main reason why I don't like drawing on the computer. And it mainly has to do with the fact that you can't rotate the image. Unless you're working on and even then, even if you're working like an on-screen tablet, it's just more complicated. I think that's part of the reason why I didn't do much digital art until this year. Is you couldn't, prior, if you were just using like a pen tablet that didn't have any like on-screen features, you can't rotate the image that you're working on without making it like really complicated. Anyway, it's just a pain in the ass to rotate it when it's on a different screen. So I think that's part of the main reason why I don't do it very often. was trying to make the background transparent and preserve the line work. I don't know why. I basically followed the exact same instructions for V, but it would not work for some unknown reason. But yeah, ended up exporting it as a separate image and then having to re-import it and then work on it that way, which it worked, but for the life of me, I could not figure out what was going on. So this ended up taking way longer than I had anticipated. Was trying to keep it simple. It ended up not being simple. Yeah, here you can see me struggling with all the layers. Trying to figure out what the fuck I did. Great. Man, I've been procrastinating doing this voiceover like all day. Yeah, I ended up cooking a bunch earlier. Fixing some stuff in the bathroom. Man, don't know why. I don't know. I think recording voiceovers is my least favorite part of making videos. I just feel really awkward making them. I know Jinx is kind of the fan favorite of the show, but honestly, unpopular opinion, I liked V better. She was just, I don't know, she's much more of a badass. Definitely probably my favorite character from the show. Let's see, who else did I like? Oh, Victor was good too, but his story was it's so sad. So sad. Man, they did such a good job with the storytelling. It's just, there's so many good, like, parallels, I think, between characters. Just with, like, some of the shots that they did, like the camera shots. Also, the camera effects were really good. For, like, an animated show, like, some of the camera effects they did were really good. Like, something heavy would drop on the screen and then, like, the camera would shake. I'm just like, man, it just, so good. Plus, all the effects were done in 2D, which was kind of an interesting aspect. It looked neat. Yeah, so for this fan art, I wanted to do opposite colors to kind of like keep the images incorporated, and then also, I don't know, because they have such a, like, kind of represent the relationship they had in the series. Looks like a middle finger. Anyway. I'm kind of wondering, I almost kind of like the flat versions. I think better than the textured ones, looking back at this now. I ended up putting some overlay texture on the images, and I don't know, kind of like the flats look pretty good right now. They just look like, they look crisp. They look crispy. I like crispy. But I don't know, maybe the final versions ended up being a bit too muddy. Just let me know. And for the text I ended up doing, I did it basically all by hand. Kind of make it look a little bit like graffiti. But, and I ended up fiddling around with it a bunch until I figured out a configuration that I liked. But for V, the idea was to kind of replicate that one shot of her when she was, I think, after the bridge, that bridge fight with Jinx and Echo, where she's like her face is like cut off by that fence. Again, so good. And then for Jinx, there was another shot. I think I don't remember which episode it was, but there was a shot where basically her eye was missing when she like punched the mirror. Or, I don't know, did she punch the mirror? I don't know. She like broke a mirror, and there was a really cool shot where basically it looked like her eye was missing. So, and then I kind of wanted to replicate those two shots from the series with the text that I put on top. So you'll kind of see that in a sec when I futz around with the layers. Yeah, like I said, almost like the flat's a bit better, but right, and here are the final versions. Let me know if you liked the video. Subscribe, comment, like. Let me know what your favorite thing was about Arcane if you watched it. And I'll have in the description links for, or just description. In the description, I'll have listed what I used. Also got links to all my website and social media and Etsy. So yeah, thanks for stopping by. Happy hauntings, and I will catch you all later.